Hello, this is Mr. B's 2-minute beginner tutorial series, taking you step by step through all the basics on your ukulele. If you enjoy the videos, do please like and subscribe and help the channel to grow. Do take care, thank you. Hello, in lesson 10 we are going to have a quick recap of how to read our chord diagrams, and I'm going to introduce two new chords to you, the D minor and the E minor. But I really want to make sure we're comfortable reading the actual chord diagrams, because once you can do that and you know how to apply the information on the chord diagram to the fretboard and you know how to read them, you can then start learning all the chords out there and very quickly pick up a much bigger range of chords to help you with your learning. So let's jump straight into it and let's just recap how to read the diagram and then look at those two new chords. Right, so when we read the chord diagram, the first thing we need to make sure we know, and I know I mentioned this briefly in lesson 3 when we looked at how to find the C chord, so I'm slightly recapping that and just making sure we understand it completely. When we look at a chord diagram, we need to make sure we realise our ukulele is being shown like this. The chord diagram, and I'll put one on the screen now for you to look at. You can see basically 4 rows of squares, and they are the frets going down from the top, from the nut there, and going down the fretboard there, fret 1, fret 2, fret 3, fret 4, and they are typically the ones shown in the diagram. If they are further down the neckboard, there'll be a signal on there showing you that it's lower down the board, but generally speaking you're looking at the top 4 on most chord diagrams, because that's where a lot of the chords that we play are based, especially at a beginner level. So initially all your chord diagrams are going to be focused on this part of the fretboard, and you're basically looking at the 4 strings, the G string, the C string, the E string and the A strings. Hang on, which way round have I got it? The G, C, E, A, which is sort of mirrored when you look at the diagram, because you think, oh, the G is on the left, but actually depending on how you hold it here, it's on the right, my right, as I look at you. And but as you tip it down as well sideways, your G is now on the top, and on the diagram it's on the side. So you just got to keep in mind where you're looking and where you're putting your fingers. So like I say, there's my G string, which is on the left hand side of the chord diagram. So as I lower my ukulele into playing position, I'm looking at where those fingers are going to go. And in the D minor sample there on the screen, we can see I put my second finger over the G and the C string, which is my top 2, and they're on the 2nd fret there. So count the frets down from the top of the diagram and you can see they're on the 2nd fret. So my second finger, that's what the 2 means in the circles, my second finger goes on the top 2 strings there, the G and the C string, and they are on my 2nd fret. And then my first finger is going to go on that E string on the 1st fret there, so the 3rd string down. So hopefully that's clear. I always try and imagine that the G string is my top string and the A string is my bottom string, because when I lower it like that into playing position, the G is the one on the top of the neck of the fingerboard, and the A string is the one at the bottom. So that helps me, and when I see the diagram I see the G and I think, well, that's at the top, so I need to put my second finger across the top 2 strings, and the E string, that's the 3rd one down, and that just helps me as I look down at the fingerboard. That helps me imagine where my fingers need to go. So if you need to, count the strings, or you might just automatically know where the strings are, because you might think, well, G, C, E, A, and you might be able to work from that. But you might want to count the strings as well. So have a good think about where you're putting your fingers in relation to the chord diagrams, and once you get your head around that, all of it should come together really quickly, and you can start learning lots of chords that you can find online and in books and elsewhere. So let's have another quick look at the D minor, and we'll have a quick practice of that now. So we're putting our first finger on that E string, so the 3rd string down, on the 1st fret there. Remember, we always put our fingers in the fret gaps, not on the actual frets themselves, which are the metal strips, but in the fret gaps. So in that first gap there, that's where we're putting our first finger on the E string, and then we're going to put our second finger across the G and the C string at the top, on the top 2 strings there, on the 2nd fret, again in the gap. So it should look like that. First finger there, second finger across the 2. Now some people don't like putting their finger across multiple frets like that, multiple strings like that. Some people would rather squash in a 3rd finger there as well, but actually you need to get used to that, because there will be chords where you have to do a whole bar with one finger across multiple strings, either 4 strings or sometimes 3 strings, and we'll look at that at a later date. So you do need to get used to pushing down more than one string with a finger, sort of do a half bar on this one, where we're pushing down 2 strings, and you just need to really flatten your finger and make sure you're not catching any other strings as well. So you don't want to be catching the E string with your second finger, because you need to be cleanly playing that in the 1st fret position. So it's a good one to practice. Our D minor should sound like this. Just make sure you got that second finger nice and firm and flat across both strings. It won't quite sound right if you're not quite pressing down on both strings. So that's the challenge there. And we can also have a look at our E minor, which is on screen now. And again, we can think about how we read in the diagram. So our A string is our bottom string, and we're going to put our first finger there. Look at inside the circle, it says number 1. Our first finger on the 2nd fret on the A string on the bottom. And then working up, we're putting our second finger on the E string, which is the 2nd string up on the 3rd fret there, and our 3rd finger on the C string on the 4th fret. So it should look like this, and it should make a nice diagonal line. First finger, second finger, first finger, sorry, second finger, first finger, second finger, 3rd finger. I missed the string there. There we go, makes a nice diagonal line for the E minor. Should sound like this. Okay, so hopefully we're comfortable now navigating those chord diagrams, and we understand how to find our finger positions when we look at them. So let's just do a quick practice between the D minor and the E minor, which is a nice couple of chords to have learnt in today's video as well. So D minor, and switch to the E minor. And back to the D minor. And to the E minor. Okay, there we are. And don't worry if you didn't quite keep up at the end and managed to get your fingers in all the right places there. Something to practice at, 2 new chords to look at. But the main point of today's video was understanding how to read those chord diagrams so you can go off and look up any chord you need to for any song. So I hope that helps. Do take care. Thanks for watching.